In this video, I'm going to show you how to write the pseudocode for an advanced user interface in NXTG. If you saw my last video on how to write a basic user interface in NXTG, you may have noticed that that program does not allow you to skip forward or move backwards in your list of programs. So that's what we're going to try and fix in the advanced user interface. Now, because this is a more complex program, I've split this lesson up into two different videos. The pseudocode video, which is this one, and the actual implementation of the pseudocode in NXTG, which is going to be the next video. So now, actually getting into the pseudocode video, what exactly is pseudocode? So pseudocode is kind of like writing a program in English, but using programming logic. So basically what that means is you don't have to worry about syntax or actual making sure that this can be read by a programming compiler, but it lets you test out your logic to see if everything makes sense. So now let's start writing the pseudocode. So what we're going to do is we're going to tie which program is being run to a variable. So we're going to call that variable cur mission, and that's short for current mission, and we're going to set that equal to 0. Then what we're going to do is the rest of the program is going to be in a while loop. So everything that's in the while loop will be indented inwards. So now what we need to do is we need to be able to edit the current mission value so we can skip forward or move backwards. So what we'll do to do that is we're going to use the left and right buttons on the NXT to control that. So if left NXT button is pressed, then the current then subtract 1 from current mission. And if the right NXT button is pressed, then we'll add 1 to the current mission. Okay, and to actually run the current mission, what we'll do is we'll tie that to the touch sensor. You can always tie that to the center NXT button if you want, but I'll just do it to the touch sensor. So if touch sensor is pressed, then we go into a switch statement, which is based on the current mission. And let's just make this current mission just so that everything's consistent. So then, because it's based off of current mission, if current mission is equal to 0, then we will run program number 1. If current mission is equal to 1, then we run program number 2. And if current mission is equal to 2, then we run program number 3, and it goes on like that. And at the end of this switch statement, what we'll do is we're going to increment cur mission one more time. So add 1 to cur mission. And the reason we do that is so that once you're finished with one mission, it moves on to the next one automatically without you having to do left or right NXT buttons, so that you don't have to waste any extra time if you don't need to. So that's just why we're adding 1 to current mission here. Now, one more thing that you might want to do is add a display, so that in case you don't know what's happening next, or when you're trying to navigate which mission you want to run, you will want to see what missions are available. So what you can do there is set up another switch statement, and that one will also be based on the current mission, so cur mission, and it'll still have these same if current mission is equal to 0, if current mission is equal to 1, and if current mission is equal to 2. And rather than running the program, what it'll do is it'll display program 1. Whoops. It'll display program 2, and so on. So it'll display program 3. So now you can see which program you're actually going to run when you hit the touch sensor. So that's basically going to be your pseudocode. So all we have to do now is implement it. So we'll do that in the next video. So I'll see you there.